Introduction to ecosystems. In this video, you'll be introduced to what an ecosystem is, the key parts of an ecosystem, food chains and food webs. An ecosystem is all the living and non-living parts within an area. A large ecosystem is called a biome. Let's have a look at some key terminology. Biotic is all the living parts of an ecosystem. This includes plants, animals, fungi and bacteria. The non-living parts of an ecosystem are known as abiotic. These include soil, light, rock, air and water. Okay, so a producer is green plants that use photosynthesis and take nutrients from the soil using their roots. A primary consumer is an animal which eats plants. These are known as herbivores. Secondary consumers are animals which feed on the primary consumers. Top consumers are animals which will hunt and eat other carnivores and herbivores in the ecosystems. Top carnivores are the largest and fastest hunters, and these are sometimes referred to as tertiary consumers. Decomposers are organisms that, over time, break down dead organic matter and animal excretions. Decomposers help to return nutrients back to the soil in the form of an organic substance called humus. Fungi and bacteria are types of decomposers. Now that you've had a look at some key terminology, let's have a look at food chains and food webs. A food chain shows the flow of energy and materials from one organism to the next in a habitat, beginning with the producer. The arrows between each organism in the chain always point in the direction of energy flow, from the food to the feeder. So looking at this food chain, the energy is going from the blackberry bush to the greenfly and onto the sparrow. A food web, however, is a complex series of links between producers and consumers in the ecosystem. A food web shows a network of interconnected food chains. As you can see, there is the simple food chain, which was seen previously, of the blackberry bush, greenfly and sparrow. But there are a lot of other organisms which also link with these organisms as well. If there is a change in the population of one organism within the food web, it will have an effect on the population of other organisms. This is called interdependence. Now that you have revised the intro to ecosystems, have a go at the following questions. What is the difference between biotic and abiotic? What is a decomposer? What is the difference between a food chain and food web? Give an example of a primary consumer. Pause the video now before the answers are shown. Okay, so the difference between biotic and abiotic is biotic is referring to the living parts of the ecosystem, whereas abiotic is referring to the non-living parts. A decomposer are organisms that break down dead organic matter and animal excretions. The difference between a food chain and food web is that a food chain is the simple series of links showing the energy flow between organisms, whereas a food chain is a complex series of many links. And an example of a primary consumer is a rabbit.